son. He's a special young man. We heard a lot about that. Tell us some more about him.
Todd was, well, you just heard his story from his own heart. He was a kid who loved life, loved people, and even though he was almost as short, a little taller than me, which isn't very tall, he was always the one that everybody gravitated toward. He knew everybody by name the second he met them. He didn't forget them. And he was able to just have a great time wherever he was. And when he got cancer, he didn't want to be treated special. He didn't want to have anybody say, oh, we've got to let him do that because he has cancer. He just went with it.
And he made I'm going to fix your mic over here. Just put it a little closer. There
okay, thank you.
And he obviously made a lasting impact as well, as we heard that woman talk about going to Camden Yards. It was one of his dreams, but the friends and the family that he made that were able to facilitate that. And something that I'm hearing all the time about the Dana-Farber Institute and about all this is that they want kids to feel like kids, not kids who are going through cancer. Mm-hmm. And that's something that it sounds like he was also trying to give that message as well to the people that he was in treatment with.
He would talk to Lisa pretty much every time he came in. If you don't know Lisa, you're missing out on an unbelievable person. And she would always laugh and say, oh, we can't do that. It's not going to happen. And then he kept saying, no, you really have to. It's really important. And together, they came up with a plan. Mm-hmm. When Todd passed away, his friends decided that they were going to do some fundraising, and they had a small event up at his summer camp, and in one afternoon, 18-year-olds raised $25,000.
Wow.
And it just seemed like, okay, let's give it to someone who knows what to do with this, and Lisa was that person.
And after all these years, Lisa's still in that fight. You as well, Janet. Mm-hmm. And one theme that we saw from that feature piece there on Todd, in his own words, as you mentioned, was the family aspect of it. He mentioned how he would talk to the nurses like they were his own family. You know, they knew more stuff than some of his friends. How important is that aspect to this fight against cancer, and what Dana-Farber provides to some of these patients?
They create an atmosphere where you get to be connected. You don't just walk in, and it was his biggest fear was he was just going to walk in and be patient number 42. You know, it didn't work that way. They got to know him, and he got to know them. And he was able to reach out. He was able to talk to his doctor, Lauren Walensky, who's brilliant. He was able to talk to them all the time. And so in doing that, the connections that patients make with their doctors and nurses, they do become family and supportive and able to, because he didn't want to be that kid that was feeling sorry for himself, he could do that with somebody else, and that worked.
You were part of the very first, you said before it was even on television, just on radio. You were part of the very first Jimmy
Fund.
I'm that old. No, you have that much
Haven't aged today, I told her. I mean, we saw it.
Yeah, you haven't aged.
Exactly the same.
But tell us about how you've seen it change. And obviously with the world of social media, there's this growth in being able to promote the mission and the message, which is so important. But why are you back in this chair? Thank you for being here. But why have you decided to come back 20 years later to give your time still to spread a message? Explain how important this is to you to be able to do that.
It's pretty simple. Cancer's still here. Mm-hmm. One of the goals that we always felt was that there needed to be a way to at least manage the cancer. Mm-hmm. If you had to live with it, let's figure out how to live with it and live your best life. When Toddy went off to college, it was like tearing at my heartstrings. I could have kept him home and just watched him on the sofa and seen how that works, but that wasn't what a kid was supposed to do. So off he went to college, and with the help of all the people at Dana-Farber, he got his treatments in college. And so coming back is just reinforcing that there is life with cancer, and that people need to do that. We have a walk team. We walk a gosh, we've been walking since Todd was diagnosed.
Team Todd
Team Todd.
in the Boston Marathon.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so we're still trying to achieve that same goal. It's like there's a better cure, and people are moving forward and living with it, and they're able to take pills now instead of always having to get infusions and things that weren't in existence.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can move things forward and help other people not have this problem, this disease, and give them strategies and ways to work with it, why not?
Definitely. I was going to say, I mean, the advancements that have come from cancer research because of things like the Jimmy Fund over the last 2 decades has been remarkable in impacting, the quality of a lot of these patients' lives. So we see it in the videos, and Todd looked like a phenomenal young man.
You said he was hilarious.
He
He
seemed
was.
like a funny guy.
He was a funny guy. In fact, after that very first radiothon, he talked his way into a cocktail party
No.
that was being held here for the Dream Team or the Impossible Dream Team, and he talked his way in, and he had the time of his life, and meeting all the players and having.
Wow. So that wasn't just talk. He was a massive Red Sox fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he scheduled his treatments around going in the morning, right?
Right.
So he can go to Red Sox games.
He would schedule. For the radiothon, he scheduled it that morning so he could be here in the afternoon, and he just made it down the street, and here we
Wow.
were. So it was great.
Incredible.
Janet, thank you so much for being here again. Year 1, year 20. Thank you for sharing your story. Everyone who comes on who's been affected by this shares their story is very impactful. So thank you for being here.
If I could just say
Yes.
one
Yes.
challenge to everybody. If you're sending a kid off to school, whether it's a preschooler, and I was a kindergarten teacher, so I know that 5-year-olds get cancer. If you're sending off a college kid, please, please, please make that donation to Dana-Farber, to the Jimmy Fund, and be thankful that you have a healthy kid that's going and helping kids that aren't.
Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you, Jen.
you.
Important message.
Yes, to make that donation, you guys see on the bottom of your screen ways you can do that. And let's take a look at the Arbella Insurance tote board. Keeps going up, which is what we like
Which
to see.
we'd love to see.